right, so what did you get for number 1? D. Why is the answer D? Because when you put in your calculator, you type 10, you hit the YX button, then you hit 3 negative, and you get 0.001. Okay, so we know we can eliminate this one, we can eliminate this one. Was it a negative number when you typed it in your calculator? No. So it's not that negative fraction, so your answer is D. And then I told you to change one of these to, I hope this is picking me up, to fraction. Didn't matter which one you changed. So what is 10 to the negative 7 as a decimal? If you don't have a calculator, go get one. You have to know how to type this into a calculator. All right, so what is it? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros, and then the 1 is in the 7th place, right? Or in it's the 7th number after the decimal. So then when you have that as a fraction, I'm going to have 1 and then 7 zeros. So wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Questions? All right, so then number 3, identify the numbers that are equivalent to 10 to the negative 4. So if you type in your calculator 10 and then hit the YX button and then press 4 negative, what decimal do you get? 0.0001. This is what shows up in your calculator. Okay, is it a negative number? So we know it's not that one. Okay, it's not a negative number. Is 4 anywhere in that number on your calculator? No. They put that on there to trick you. So is it 1 over and then 10,000? Yes. That's the fraction that matches. Any questions on those 3? All right, number 4. What is 0.000012 written in scientific notation? You put your pen or whatever where the decimal is and move it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So it's a decimal. Is it a positive exponent or a negative exponent? Negative exponent. So A is our answer. 1.2 times 10 to the negative 5th. Remember, when you have a negative exponent, it's a really small number. It's less than 1. When you have a positive exponent, it's a big number. It's bigger than 1. So then number 5 says the number of water droplets in a specific body of water is that number. How can this number be written in scientific notation? Where do I start? What do I do? No one can tell me what to do. I start at the end of the number. And I move over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 1.23 times 10 to the 14 is my answer for that one. For scientific notation, all you're doing is moving the decimal. The exponent tells you how many times to move the decimal. The first number has to be less than 10, greater than 1. I had someone tell me that this one was correct. And mathematically, it is correct. But it's not written correctly in scientific notation because it says 12.3. That's bigger than 10, isn't it? So that answer is not correct. Number 6, which list of numbers is arranged from least to greatest? D. And there is a trick with ninths. Okay, so if we have 9 in our denominator and we have 1/9, what's my decimal? Remember, you cannot use a calculator on this. So this would be 0.11 repeating. So then 2/9 would be 0.22 repeating. So this is 17%, this is 22%, and 0.25 is what percent? 25%. So least to greatest is D. We're going to skip to 8, 9, 10, and 11, so then I can scroll down to 7. So 8 says identify 2 values that have a value less than 3. What is 2.9 times 10 to the 1? 29, because you said the exponent tells you to move the decimal 1 time. So that's 29. Is that less than 3? No. Okay, 2.9 times 10 to the 0. How many times do I move the decimal? 0. So it's just 2.9. Is that less than 3? Okay. 3.2 times 10 to the 3. How many times do I move the decimal? So 1, 2, 3, so that's 3,200. Is that less than 3? Yeah, it's too much. 3.2 times 10 to the negative 2. How many times do I move the decimal? Which direction? Left. So 1, 2, so that becomes 0.032. Is that less than 3? Okay. Okay, so now I have which number would make the sentence true. 2/11 has to be less than the number in the blank, which has to be less than 1.42. Is 1 2/3 less than 1.42? No, what's 2/3? 0.66666. So this would be 1.666 repeating. Well, isn't 1.6 already bigger than 1.4? So that can't be right. So 0.153, is that less than 1.42? Yes. Do we know if it's bigger than 2/11? 1.53 is bigger than 2/11. Do you know that automatically because you can't use a calculator on that? We'll come back to it. What about 22%? Do you know if that's bigger than 2/11? Not off the top of my head, I don't know. So then 1.3 times 10 to the 1. Remember that exponent tells me I have to move my decimal 1 time. So that's 13. Is that one going to work? No, is 13 less than 1.42? 13, like $13. Is $13 less than $1.42? No. So now I need to figure out, is 22% or roughly 15% larger than 2/11? So if I have 2/11, what's a fraction that you know that's close to 2/11? 2/10 is close. Okay, well 22%, what would 22% be? 22 out of 100. So then couldn't we make this 20 out of 100? Okay, so couldn't we make this, well, 2/11 and 2/10. Which one of those is larger? 2/11 is larger than 2/10. This is like getting 2/10 is like getting 2 out of 10 right on a quiz. 2/11 is like getting 2 out of 11 questions right on a quiz. Which one's better? 2/10 is going to be better. So if 2/10, is that greater or less than 22%? Which one's better? What grade would 2 out of 10 be on a test or a quiz? 20%. So which one's bigger? 22%. So 22% is going to go in that blank because 22% is bigger than 2/11. You could do 2 divided by 11 to help you. You're allowed to divide fractions, but you cannot use a calculator. So you could do 2 divided by 11. Can 11 go into 2? No, so you add a decimal and a 0. Can 11 go into 20? Okay, how many times? What's 20 minus 11? Can 11 go into 9? So you add a 0. Can 11 go into 90? How many times? Okay, so then that would be 88. Do I even need to go any further? Because isn't 0.15 already less than 0.18? So then it can't be B. Number 10, which number is the square root of 400? 20. Okay, so if we have the square root of 400, 400 is like the area of a square. So we need to figure out what times itself will give us 400. Well, 20 times 20. I had a lot of people choosing 200. How do you think they got 200? They added, 200 plus 200 to give them 400. But remember, you have to think about multiplying. So number 11, which number is the square root of 1? 1. Because 1 times 1 equals 1. So that's like saying you have a square with an area of 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Any questions so far? All right, we're skipping back to 7 then. It says arrange the 3 numbers shown in order from the least to greatest. So which one of these is the least? Now you could actually, do those little loop-de-loops and draw it out. but you don't have to. Can I look at these and tell which one is my greatest one? Which one's the greatest? 3.9 times 10 to the 8th, because I know I'm going to move this decimal 8 times, so that's going to be a really big number. So then we can look at these two. They have the same exponent. So I'm going to move the decimal the same number of times. So that means I can just look at the first two numbers. Well, which one's greater, 4.7 or 5.2? Okay, so then that's going to be my next greatest. So then my smallest is the 4.7 times 10 to the 5th. Questions? All right, number 12, what is the absolute value of negative 8.2? 8.2 is just distance from 0. It's always positive. What is the absolute value of negative 11 twelfths? 11 twelfths. Those should be easy questions for you to get right on the SOL. Questions?